What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out a brand new Link monster that just got revealed in the OCG Collector's Pack 18. It's actually another Topologic Link monster, which is very interesting. Shoutouts to Revolver from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, or I guess maybe I can start calling him Varus because that's his name in the dub version of the Vrains. I don't like that name quite as much, so I'm going to stick with Revolver. And yeah, you guys know that we've got Topologic Torresbina coming out in the next set, Flames of Destruction. We had Bomber Dragon in the first set, Code of the Duelist. Now we have Topologic Gamble Dragon, and don't be surprised if we end up getting like a Link 5 at some point, because Revolver is a pretty big character in Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, so this is not going to be the end of the Topologic support, in my personal opinion. That's just my kind of like prediction. Anyways, Topologic Gamble Dragon. This guy is a Link 4 Dark Cybers, because Topologic monsters are Cybers. 3,000 attack, so it's got really good stats. I believe they're the same as a Bomber Dragon, and Link points are a little different. Basically, they're Firewall Dragons Link points, where top center, bottom center, middle left, middle right. Basically, it kind of makes the cross shape. And the Link materials are 2+ effect monsters. So, you know, basically, if you can make Boiler Dragon, you can make this. It's identical, or those conditions, materials are basically the same as like what what Decode Talker says. But obviously, this is a Link 3. First and second effects are hard once per turns. First effect says if another monster or monsters is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to while this card is already in a monster zone, randomly discard up to 2 cards, then have your opponent randomly discard the same number of cards. This is really interesting, right? And I don't know, I feel like this name of the monster is somewhat ironic, because this effect doesn't really feel like a gamble to me. It kind of just feels like it's situational and win more. Like, so you're telling me that I have to make a Link 4, right? And then I have to meet this condition of like a monster has to be special summoned to like a Link point while this card is already face up on the field for me to get 2 cards out of my opponent's hand, and I have to discard 2 of my cards? Like, what the fuck? I don't understand why I have to jump through those many hoops just to get a couple of cards out of their hand. And I don't know, it seems like it shouldn't even have required me to discard. So this doesn't really seem much like a gamble. It just kind of feels like it's somewhat I don't know, an effect that doesn't really do all that much under normal circumstances. Like, if your opponent only has 2 cards in their hand and you have 2 cards in your hand, yeah, you're probably willing to, like, you know, risk that, where your opponent is top decking against your field of this established Gamble Dragon and probably another monster, and they only have 1 card to try and out it. Yeah, that's really good, and that's like an ideal situation. Or if you have like 6 cards in your hand and your opponent has like 2. Well, the thing is, under those circumstances, you're probably kicking your opponent's ass anyways, and I don't really consider it much of a gamble because you're already in a winning position. I kind of feel like this card should not, or this effect should not have had you discarding to discard for your opponent, because I don't think that that's generally good. Second effect says, during your main phase, while this card is extra linked, holy shit, that is situational. I don't even need to go on to know that that's situational if it has to activate while this card is extra linked. It says you can activate this effect, have your opponent discard as many cards as possible, maximum 2. Those 2 things seem to conflict right there. Discard as much as you want, Cap G, but only 2 though. Like, what? Anyways, it says if your opponent has no cards in their hand because of this effect, inflict 3,000 damage to your opponent. That sounds really great on paper. Number 1, extra linking is already something that is super situational. I don't think that we've even seen it happen one time at like a North American or European YCS event. It's something that happens a lot in, like, you know, YGO Pro duels and Table 500 decks, where you're playing decks that can only win turn 1 and whatnot. So yeah, in that case, this card would probably make the pop off even more real. But usually when you extra link, you have so much stun on the board with like Firewall and Trigate Wizard, you probably don't even need this kind of like Delinquent Duo / burn effect to even close the duel. I think it probably takes your chances of winning from like 92% to like 97% or something like that, where you're already gonna win, but you know what, might as well guarantee the win. I don't know, man. To me, these effects feel like they're way too situational. Like, you're gonna give me a monster effect that only works when my card is extra linked. What type of shit is that? Come on, man. That doesn't sound practical at all. And even the first effect, you get 2 cards out of your opponent's hand, but you have to discard 2 cards as well. It would have been okay if I had to discard 1 to make my opponent discard 2. I'd have been like, that's fine. I can see somebody playing it in a deck with Scapegoat because you can go Scapegoat straight into this. But overall, this card doesn't really feel like a gamble to me at all. Like the barrel dragon cards feel like gambles where there's a little bit of luck involved. This card just kind of feels like it's situational, and I don't know, I don't think the effect is really all of that useful if you're already in a winning position where it seems to work best. So you guys let me know, maybe you think that I'm completely wrong, which is perfectly fine. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.